The current armed conflict began in June 2011. It's between the Burmese military, the Tatmadaw, and the Kachin Independence Army, which is Burma's second largest non-state army. While the conflict began in June 2011, it actually dates back a decade. The two forces were operating under a ceasefire agreement for approximately 17 years, during which time there were no significant hostilities between the KIA and the Burmese army.
Well, you cannot say it's a very good period, but we can say that no fighting, but people are still no justice and peace.
During the ceasefire period, we saw an upsurge in the exploitation of natural resources throughout the entire state.
The Burmese government right now, they do not have concert and share the revenue or natural resources. That's why the one example of the creation the conflict between ethnic state and the Burmese, the central government.
The real feeling of the local community is that, oh, we have a lot of gold and the jade and everything, but we are so poor, when we look. There is no drinking water at all, polluted, water river and also polluted, and also the local community are so poor.
So if we look at the fact that natural resource and energy projects have become a factor in new conflicts in the country, then we need to understand that people in Burma who used to be threatened by men with guns are now being threatened by men with briefcases backed up by men with guns.
I mean that the conflict is just, caused by only the business. There is there are many root causes, but that trade gas or any investment project are also one of the main causes of that the conflict.
Documented forced labor that has been used for project infrastructure on natural gas pipelines. There's been a serious problem with land confiscation and forced displacement to facilitate the construction of large-scale development projects, including hydropower dams, mineral mines, and other projects.
In the past 2 years, since the war broke out in June 2011, we have seen mass murders of civilians, bombing of civilian targets such as schools and hospitals, gang rape and sexual assault of women by the military, and enforced disappearances, abductions that have taken place in full view of other witnesses and for which the authorities continue to deny any liability or any responsibility.
from Burma ware kum sum ya chi phat ngai de ko na Burma ware rang de ko sitima kun khu ya sin de ko du de
너도 안에 평화라는 거 년니 뭐라고다 안에 뭐게 무사니 그 하나 시험 따고 무사다 안에 뭐게 무사니 다 낫거야 안에 뭐 사만 이면서 평화에 뭐 산도다 보나 수습가 이런 거 스납가 봐는 저 가부는 저 하나
Serious international crimes have continued to take place in the past 3 years, despite the so-called opening of reforms in the country. We've seen commitment of mass atrocities in Kachin State, in Mandalay Division, in Pegu Division, and Arakan State.
In the conflict, there is a lot of rape case and tortures and forced labor and human abuses in the Kachin area. So, but that is has done by the military, but we can say is intentionally what they have done. So that is what we see. And also the religious persecution, they destroy the churches, and also the targeting to the civilian.
Where there is the military Burmese army, there is rape cases, so they are not safe anywhere where there is an army.
We have documented cases of rape committed by Burmese soldiers, in some cases gang rape. Many of these crimes are committed with impunity. There has been very limited accountability for sexual violence within the military. And the accountability that has occurred has been inadequate.
There have been cases where Kachin people, and in fact in other cases of serious international crimes, where other people in Burma have tried to take their cases to local courts in order to get remedy, to extract remedy, or to ensure that people abducted or subject to enforced disappearances were surfaced. And in the case of Somla Roja, who was abducted by military troops in full view of her family, and whose family members continued to petition the courts to try and get the case investigated, they were flatly turned down. In fact, the courts favored the accused, the military, and refused to hear testimony from the family, from the petitioners, from the people who had put forward that case. This is consistent. This is consistent with the general pattern that over the years that the judicial system in Burma is not impartial nor independent. It all boils down to the constitution, which legitimizes and perpetuates a situation of impunity.
Nobody tried to solve how to sue. To the court, sue to the court. Because it's useless. Because we already been tried one case, 2 cases already. It doesn't accept by the court.
Well, the impunity in Burma is by law. So by law, the military cannot be held accountable for past abuses that have occurred over many years, many decades. And this is a very serious obstacle to genuine reform in the country.
For me, justice means, justice means we also need a good constitution and rules of law. If there is no rules of law, no good constitution for the people, there would be no justice. Because at the trial, we people didn't get any equality at the front of the trial.
For lasting peace to occur in this part of the country, the first and foremost, the abuses need to stop. So I think there needs to be a fundamental change in the behavior of the Burmese military in the ethnic areas. And until that happens, a lasting peace will be impossible.
try to make Burma's way to federalism now. Very dangerous. So we need to clear the real federal system rather than Burma's way to federalism.
Ceasefire without political dialogue doesn't make sense. Otherwise, ceasefire is not sustainable without move forward to the political dialogue.
Constitution must be the federal and also to assure for the democracy and the human right and the gender, and also the division of power, like a natural resources management, or that is a division of the power.
Ya tem sabli dapat kita kok dari sebenarnya simsak lama di panggung malu.
Even though they said they will reduce, the government said, well, both of us will try to reduce the fighting. But actually, just after the last meeting, fighting was happening in northern Kachin State again. I heard that the fighting started because of the Burmese troops trying to enter, enter to the KIA territory. Women's participation and civil society's participation would be important. It is important for the for the change, for transformation. Not just only for the Kachin people, for all the people of Burma. So I would like to ask the international community. I would like to say, when you try to work involved with our government, try to think the people's need, the people's suffering also. Do no harm to the people.
The international community has disempowered itself by discarding sources of leverage and by not institutionalizing and embedding in all their agreements the commitment to international humanitarian law and human rights principles. So the regime itself is getting the message that yes, the international community will make statements, but they're not actually going to act on those statements because they are much more interested in engaging economically with Burma, in getting access to energy and natural resources.
Luna look at the